Hello and welcome to Filmi Ladies. I am Beth and Pitu is also here. And this is our companion piece to Women We Love. This is Men We Love. If you remember our last episode on this topic, we had some discussion about what this concept means to us. And we kind of landed on it's people we have a soft spot for. And I have to say that this was not as easy as I thought it would be based on how hard it was to find women characters I love. But then this also kind of morphed into like a little bit of a heart eyes emoji set as well. So this isn't quite the companion piece for me, but it's pretty similar. Did it feel different to you?
It was actually easier, I have
Yeah.
to say, than the women characters we love, just because there was such a rich like plethora of good
Yeah.
characters to choose from, and that just shows how many good male characters are written versus females. So I that was very disappointing, but it
Yeah.
did make it easy. And I realized that there are far more male characters that I love that came to mind immediately,
Oh.
which was harder than the women. And some of the male characters, I mean, I have a soft spot for all of the ones I'm going to mention, but some of them definitely it's the heart eye emoji. And I really had to make a mental note. I had a rule for myself. I was only allowed to pick 2 Irfan movies and 2 Shah Rukh Khan movies, and that was it. Because I knew if I didn't make that rule for myself, I would just yammer on about the 2 men for like an hour. So I'm very good disciplined.
Oh, I made no such rule, but
Okay.
I do have a pretty good distribution, I think. So hopefully it will shake out okay.
Well, I feel like your background is already giving me an idea. So dare I guess that Akshay Khanna in Dil Chahta Hai is one of them?
You dare guess. I actually was able to group my people into 3 categories. So I'll start. Yeah. And so for those
It
who are
sounds very scientific.
those who are I have types. And people who know me in real life will not be surprised by any of this probably. So people who cannot see, who are listening as opposed to watching on YouTube, my background is a still from Koi Kahe from Dil Chahta Hai, and it has Akshay Khanna doing some sort of early 2000s dance move in the pleather pants. Because they all match in that song. So funny.
Yeah.
But he is the first of a category that I'm calling gentle helpers.
Oh.
Who are like these very sweet, but not necessarily simplistic. We've talked about how sweet sometimes gets used to mean that person's nice, but there's nothing else you can say about them. These are people with very kind demeanors. They are affectionate. They are, I think, quite genuine, and they are trying to, as part of their character anyway, they're trying to help somebody else. And that's not the only thing that they do. But so he came to mind under this category because, he's the semi-tortured artist. Now that does not appeal to me so much, but I just think that this is a very good person who has got himself figured out at a fairly young age, which a lot of us don't, right? And I think that that's quite appealing. I've written a whole essay about how much I love this character and how like enlightened I think he is. But I just find this character, a treasure. And I think the casting of it is also really good. I know we talked last time about kind of separating the performer out from the written role, and that's hard to do. And all of mine are going to show that I had a hard time with that. But this is just a total gem of a character. And while I have not rewatched this film in a while, I'm 100% confident that this character holds up well, whereas maybe I might find some of the others don't quite so much, or at least are not as interesting to me as I get older and they stay the same age, But I do love Sid.
Aw, that's cute. He is, I mean, I love all the characters of Dil Chahta. It's such a good movie.
It is.
But yeah, Sid is definitely like the most adorable of the lot. Although, I don't know, I really like Saif in it as well. He's just so goofy and funny.
Yeah.
Mine is not quite as lighthearted. Mine is actually my favorite movie character male of all time, and which is like a big thing to say. And I rewatched this movie again, and within 15 minutes of the movie, I was sobbing. And then I walked up to Beth and I was like, I'm sobbing. And that was not the first time I cried in this film. So the character is Mr. Ashok Ganguly from The Namesake. It's Irfan. It's like literally the best male character in all of cinema for me. I saw the namesake when it came out in 2006 in this tiny little like indie movie theater in Chicago. And I was just like blown away. And I have read the book as well, but to me, so much of what makes Ashok Ganguly so adorable is Irfan's performance. Like who else could have
Nobody.
could have played him? And just the chemistry between him and Tabu, Ashima Ganguly. I mean, they're so darling. He's probably one of the most like genuine and gentle souls that I've ever seen in cinema. And he's so darling. Like I have to love someone who names his firstborn child after a book.
Yeah.
I mean, after an author, right? Like that
Yeah.
is so something that you and I would do, Beth. So I just love his like nerdiness. I love how genuine he is. I love his scenes with Tabu because they're so tender. Like when she's jet lagged from her first international flight ever, and he just tells her to sit and he makes her tea, and she just kind of like is like, oh, okay, sure, because this is the 1970s, and then it's Irfan. He's adorable. He's kind. And I think what makes it's so special is that the way his character is written, it could easily have been a caricature, like he could have just been this like perfect person who has no flaws whatsoever and just comes across as like goody and saccharine in the way that, characters in Rajashri movies come across, where it's so cardboard, like, one of their frames that they always cast. But I think weirdly, even though like off the top of my head, I cannot think of single flaw that character has, but he still comes across as very real and genuine. And I just don't know how Jhumpa Lahiri, Meera Nair, and Irfan did it, but it's just spectacular. And to me, he has always been sort of like the perfect man. But yeah, I love Mr. Ashok Ganguly, Professor Ashok Ganguly, sorry. Yeah. But yeah, he's my favorite. So he is my one Irfan person that I will name, and then I have another.
I fully support that choice. He is delightful. And as I grew up in a university town. My parents were professors, and I know this man.
Right.
And I am approximately the age of Gogol. So this early 70s professor is 100% recognizable to me, even though I'm from a different region of the country. And obviously their family story is not the same as mine, but I knew that guy. I knew Indians who immigrated to the middle of nowhere, Illinois, to be professors, and I knew their kids in school. He's completely recognizable. And the fact that he and Gogol have their moments of connection, but then their moments of failure to connect is just so relatable to anyone with a child or a parent. So it just translates so beautifully across the cultural. And even though there is a lot of cultural specificity to the characters and the setting and everything, there's also some, more broadly relatable things that I find just super charming.
I love the romance too. Like it's probably one of my favorite romances ever in Bollywood. It's like so soft and quiet and not showy. Like I love that scene at the Taj Mahal where Ashima is just sitting on the bench and she just like wistfully says like, oh, Shah Jahan must have loved his wife so much to build her the Taj Mahal. And she's not saying it like in a comparative way. She's just saying it. And then he just puts his hand over hers and then he just says, well, most husbands love their wives. It's just we can't afford to build a Taj Mahal. And he just says it with this cute little smile. And then Gogol comes and then, they move their hands away. And I was just like, oh, it's just so cute. But yeah, it's like, 15 minutes into the movie, I was crying. And it's like, I don't know when I'm going to get over Irfan's passing, but it still hurts. And it's still hard to watch his films. But that was my pick. Who else did you have in your list?
I will go to an Irfan character now. I love Rana in Pitu.
He was the other one on my list. Yes.
And I also put him, he's still my gentle helper category.
Okay.
He's a lot more, like a little prickly and a little, like he's got some hard edges.
Mischievous.
To him. Yeah. A little cranky.
Yeah.
A little exasperated. All with good reason, I think, as far as we can tell, right? But I just think, what a boondoggle of a trip that he's, been hired to do, and just the way that those characters interrelate, and his observations as an outsider which I think that family really needs,
Yeah.
are really delightful. I should say that I also love Jishu Sengupta's character in that film was also quite delightful to me, although he's barely in it. So I can't really count him, I don't think, but yeah, those he's just a delight. And it sounds like you feel similarly.
Yes. So my two Irfan characters were Ashok Ganguly and Rana. And I love like his snarkiness. And I love when he's like calling out, Piku and, Bhaskwar's like bullshit. And he's just kind of like, he's barely holding it together. I just thought it was hilarious. And him and Deepika had surprisingly good chemistry.
Yeah.
I was very shocked by that because I felt like they would be so weird together, but surprisingly they were. And this is so funny. So all of my friends know that I'm a gigantic Irfan fan. Like Irfan and Shah Rukh Khan are my favorite actors, and Sunny Paji, of course. But Sunny Paji, it's different. It's he is me and I am him. So I've always talked about how I find Irfan so gorgeous. Like he's so sexy. And none of my friends ever got it. And then one of my friends saw Piku in the movie theater and she WhatsApped me and she was like, I'm just walking out of the movie theater. I watched Piku. And I was like, it's a good movie, right? It's awesome. And she was like, yes. And she was like, I finally get it. I was like, you finally get what? She's like, I finally understand why you call Irfan sexy. This is the first movie in which he was sexy. He made something happen to me. My heart fluttered. I was like, all right. Awesome, you finally get it. I love him. I love his sly little smile, and he's just effortlessly sexy. But yes, Rana is awesome. Yay. Do you have any other Irfan movie in your list?
I don't have any other Irfan movie, but I have a couple of other people in this category of the gentle helper. So I'll do them quickly. So on to another Rana.
It sounds like a Regency novel, by the way.
I know, right?
The Gentle Helper.
The Gentle Helper. It's a terrible name. I love Inspector Rana from Kahani.
Oh, yeah.
By Parambrata Chatterjee. That character, I think, is just so soft yet has a spine, is snookered but helps anyway. I don't know if we're supposed to think he's maybe not as good at his job as he thinks he is, since he did fall for her lines and her lies. I don't know. So I don't think we're supposed to view him as incompetent, but he's definitely smitten, right, by, even if it's not by her, it's by her situation that she spins and everything. And he does such a good job at conveying on his face how instantly involved he gets in her story. And I just find him so delightful. And then there's that, talks to his mom on the tram on the way home, and like he's trying. I love, in my love of detective shows, I always love detectives who are just good at their jobs, and they're not like trying to chase down a killer from their past or like, exorcise some kind of demon that they have. And he's one of these, right? He's a good police officer trying to do a good job and serve. And he, is a little bit wide-eyed still maybe, but I love, I just think he's really great. And then of course we find out that Rana, had some stuff going on in this side that we didn't know initially. And, I think he's great. And I also think that performance is really strong because obviously it's her movie, but then you have Nawaz in there too, also being, kind of chomping the scenery in a way that makes sense. And works in the film. And then of course you have Bob Biswas, who became, a legend, but I think he holds his own really well in that role. And it was just beautifully written and acted.
Yeah, I agree with you about that trope because like I love watching anything like mystery or detective-y, and the amount of roles where it's like this detective is like tortured and has this dark past. I mean, David Tennant does that so well, and I love David Tennant, but it's kind of like, you can be a police officer or a detective without necessarily having all these skeletons in the closet. It's just being a normal 9-to-5 person as well. Like that is possible, you guys.
Apparently not.
No.
And then also in this category, I put the first of my two Shah Rukh characters, which is Coach Kabir Khan from Chak De.
That was also one of my two Shah Rukh people. Beth, we have a mind meld happening.
And he's kind of more like Rana from Piku, I would say, than he is like Rana from Kahani. So you have these kind of like gentle, soft ones, and then the ones who are also gentle, but a little bit more prickly and edgy and whatever. And he's just, Now he does obviously have a past he's trying to exorcise,
Yes.
but he is genuinely devoted to helping these women be better athletes, better individuals, and better teammates, which I think is learn how to be yourself better, but also be yourself with and in support of other people. Like that's we should all do that. That's what being a human is all about. And I think that character is just such a delight. And the fact that Shah Rukh did it makes it even better. Who else could have done it? We know that's a dream match of character and film and role.
I also liked how humorous he was in Chak De, because it could have just been so like serious, because his character is serious,
Yes.
but those flashes of humor and when he's kind of like teasing the girls a little bit, pulling their leg, I love that. And I think probably, I know everyone's favorite scene in Chak De with Shah Rukh is the 70-minute, the monologue, which is of course great, but my favorite scene, actually, and we spoke about this in the comments for last week's episode. There was one or two commentators and I were going back and forth that, that scene where Bindiya is essentially trying to seduce him, and he very cleverly extricates himself from that, but it's done so well. Because it's so icky, and like as a viewer, you're like, oh no. But he so graciously and properly, but firmly extricates himself from it. He's just done that so well, because it could have been done very, very poorly. But no, he was amazing in that.
And the fact that he lets the girls be the heroes, and he just steps back and, when they're coming home on their flight and everything, he's very much in the background, even though he was the more famous one or infamous one. And he's that character is carrying so much with him, but he manages to set it aside to support others while also dealing with it. It's not like he's blocked out his past.
Yeah.
But, I feel like he's such a nicely integrated person.
Yeah. Okay. So apart from Kabir Khan, my other Shah Rukh Khan character was actually Sunil from Kabhi Haan Kabhi Na. He's so cute. He's such a loser, but I love him so much. I love that movie. And I think Shah Rukh has gone on record as saying that is his favorite film that he has done. And I can see why. And it's so like against type, I always feel like, because Shah Rukh has played all sorts of things and so many villains and great people and things like that. But he's almost never played a loser. Except for Kabhi Haan Kabhi Na. And there's that song in it that always makes me cry because I'm such a weepy. It's that song, Woh To Hai Albela Hazaron Mein Akela. Sada tumne aib dekha, hunar ko na dekha. So his mom sings that, and she's like, he's like a unique soul, and he's special and different, as moms will say. And you've only seen his flaws and never his good side. And I'm like, yeah, you've only seen his bad side. How about appreciating him for a change? But he's so cute. And every time he's like, trying to romance Suchitra Krishnamurthi's character, Anna's character, and she like rejects him. And then she's interested in Deepak Tijori, which I was like, girl. Are you blind? Deepak Tijori? Why? I'd rather be single. Like, I'm not saying you have to be with Sunil, but Deepak Tijori. But anyway, whatever. But yeah, that's like a very sweet character. I like that one a lot. And I like that he is a loser from beginning to end, because you know what? There's nothing wrong with being a loser. He's not a bad person.
No.
He just does not fit society's norms of like a huge, gigantic success. So what? But yeah, he's very cute in that. It's like, it's a nice feel-good movie. Did you have any other Shah Rukh characters in your list?
I do. So I'll lead off. My second category is what I'm calling intellectuals with principles.
Okay.
So it is, of course, Dr. Jahangir Khan from Dear Zindagi.
Oh, yes. The therapist we all wish we had.
Well, no, it would be awkward and conflicting because like so many hard eyes.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't go to his sessions for therapy.
But he's, that character's a little cheesy, I think, and a little pleased with himself, I would say. But I also think that somehow puts at least the patient we see him with at ease in a way that helps her access therapy. And that is obviously, I think, one of the big points of this movie is that therapy is something that is open to you, hopefully. And that if it is open to you, and you should consider it, because a lot of us need it, and it is hard to ask for that kind of help specifically. It's hard to find a therapist that you want to work with, even if you do have good insurance or whatever, right? So, or you have access to them in whatever ways access is defined. So I think that what he does for the good of other people. And that's very, again, he is a helper, but he's also, this is one of these, like, there's speaking of David Tennant, there's a line in one of his episodes of Doctor Who where he puts on his brainy specs, he calls them. So I like these brainy specs characters.
Right.
And I don't remember if he wears glasses in the film.
I was just going to say, I don't think he wears glasses.
But like he wears the glasses. So,
right.
And like the linen shirts and the, like playing in the ocean, like could not be cuter. And then as we've discussed, have we discussed this, or was this on Twitter? I think this was on Twitter where someone was talking about Shah Rukh's sort of unconventional moments and maybe moments of bravery. And I think one of the real moments in his career is to play this character in this film where he not only, he rejects romantic interest. That's
he should.
Very unusual. And he absolutely should reject it.
He also rejects it in Chak De India.
Yes.
From Vidya.
Yes.
But
yes. And I think that kind of seeing someone, even though it's very obvious that that's what he should do, a lot of times people don't do what they should do in movies. And it's, it's very appealing to watch someone behave like an actual grown-up. This guy's a grown-up, and that's very attractive.
Because I mean, if he didn't, that would be like horrendously predatory.
Right.
So, okay. Yeah. I have a person that I want to mention, and I was thinking, like, because I didn't come up with these categories, but like, I was like, I think he might fit in your first category. But then I was like, he's a helper, yes, but there is nothing gentle about him, and there never has been. And this is why I love him. And it is, of course, Sunny Deol in Damini, and the character is Advocate Govind Srivastav.
That's a great character.
I love that character. I love that he's an alcoholic. I mean, I don't love that, but I think it adds some drama and youth spa to him. And I love that he's like, he doesn't even want to do the case. And then he's like, fine, whatever, I'll do it. And then he gets so fired up in the courthouse. And he has these really iconic dialogues like Tariq Pe Tariq, which I have saved as an audio file in my computer because of course I have. And he's just amazing. I mean, Sunny Deol really brings it. And you need it in those courthouse scenes because of course, Meenakshi's character, Damini's character, has done the unthinkable, which is that she has gone against everyone, her family, her husband, society, everybody to, ask for justice. But in the courthouse, she sees how terribly the odds are stacked against her. Like the entire judiciary, the lawyers, everybody is like ready to rip her apart. And this is where you can't have a very noble and gentle helper. You need a helper that's gonna really like go
need a warrior.
Like bad for you. But like he is like Sunny Deol's character in that movie, he is like a warrior except in a lawyer's outfit, and he's not uptight, and he's just like he's just going, and it's so cathartic like in that movie because Rajkumar Santoshi really racks up the frustration and the anger. And if you're a woman, you can't watch Damini and not be angry, and you can't be upset because I mean the movie is so realistic and it's so real for women. It's such a threat to women on a daily basis, right? And so when you see it, you're just getting madder and madder and madder on behalf of all womankind, really. And then Sunny comes in and he has these amazing monologues, and he just says all the things you want to say, but like he says them. And like the minute he makes his entrance in the courthouse and he makes eye contact, and you just know he's like pissed off, that he's gonna be a fantastic partner to Damini's character, and he's gonna make sure that she gets what she needs, and he's gonna like fight for her. I love him in that movie so much.
And he's such the character and also the actor are such great contrast to Rishi Kapoor's character, who is just so slappable in that.
So awful.
He's so maddening in that film. And I by the end, he kind of realizes it and apologizes, right? But like it's way too late and it is not enough, and he's awful.
Yeah.
And I love the contrast of those two.
Yes, and I think that's also the interesting thing because you don't really know where this movie's going.
No.
So at least early on, you're like, because Rishi Kapoor has always played a hero, always, until of course his much later turn in Agnipath and everything. So you're like, okay, so he's gonna support his wife because that's what the hero does, and he's gonna be like her supporter, and then he lets her down, and he lets the audience down, and you're like, oh shit, now what? Like, I thought you were going to support her, and you're not doing enough, man. Like, what the hell? And then enter Sunny Paji, and it's like, thank you, advocate Govind Srivastav. But I love it. I'm so used to Sunny Paji pummeling people with his fists, which is awesome, and I'm here for it. And I love that he's just verbally punching and pummeling, all the verbal violence just emanating from him. I thrive on it. It's very cathartic.
That's a great film.
Yes, I can send the audio file to whoever wants it. So
we
yes,
might need
he's
to link it.
Yes, he's my non-gentle helper.
He's great.
So I don't know what you would call this character, but I love Murad from Gully Boy. So Ranveer Singh's character, Gully Boy, so sweet. I love him so much. He's certainly not an intellectual. He doesn't have his
no, he's an aspiring artist.
But he is awesome. I love how raw he is. Yeah. I love Ranveer Singh's portrayal of this character. I mean, I was like legit sobbing in the movie theater when I saw Gully Boy. He just, I think the word I would use is raw.
Sure.
He was just phenomenal in the movie, in all of his scenes. I loved all of his musical performances as well. Like, he was really, really good. I loved his scenes with, who's the guy who played his dad? Vijay Raz.
Oh, yeah.
So good. Like, when he's just like, talking with his father, and when his dad says to him, like, I think he says something to the effect of sapne sirf ameer log dekhte hain. Only the rich are allowed to have dreams, and basically you need to just cut your losses and be a driver like I am. And just Murad's face, like, he's so crestfallen in that moment. It just like broke my heart. And then I love that scene where he's driving and there's that girl in the back and she's crying, and you can tell that he wants to say something, but he can't because it's not his place. And then the scene in the bathroom where he's trying to like count how big it is because it's so big and grand. I loved that. And I loved his interactions with Safina, with Alia Bhatt's character, especially the breakup scene where they're on the phone and he's just like, I can't do this anymore. I mean, they were both really good in it, but I love Murad so much. My mom and my aunt like to watch movies, and after I saw Gully Boy in the theater, I called them up and I said, you guys have to see it. It's phenomenal. And I'm sure it's playing somewhere near you. And my mom was like, well, I like Ranveer Singh, but this movie is about like rap and hip hop. I don't understand that music. Like, what am I going to do? I was like, no, that's not the point of the movie. You will love the movie. Just say it. Like, you may not enjoy the music or understand it, but just watch the movie. I guarantee you love it. They loved the film. And my mom told me that she teared up at several points during the film. And she really, really wanted Murad to succeed. It's just he's one of those characters that you're like rooting for, and you really want him to do well, and you want everything in his life to go good. So
that's true.
What else do you have?
All right, now here's the one that's going to surprise people the least, I think, from my list. As we have discussed, the great Shashi Kapoor.
I knew it was going to be Shashi.
Plays a lot of characters who are almost great, but then they have some kind of speech about elicit, or they do something else that just
Tyag.
And it, in the world of their movies, like, oh, okay. But they do not, the characters maybe don't transcend beyond the film that they're in for me. There is at least one exception. There's probably more, but this is one that I'm thinking of for this specific. And it is, I'm going to say his full name, I believe in the film, is Ravi Malhotra, which does not narrow it down a whole lot because he's always called Ravi.
It's so generic.
But that is the engineer in Kala Pathar.
Okay.
Again, this is an intellectual with principles. And I love that in this movie full of the machismo of Amitabh and Shotgun, that Shashi is here in his like very white collar kind of way, perfectly cast, right? Perfectly cast. And he like literally goes in and breaks them up in a fight. He tries to de-escalate tension in that great scene in the little cafe. And he's down there as the mine is caving in also, right? But also I love his just sort of sunny disposition, and that this is a type that he played a lot, which is this like well-off, well-educated, urbane, sunny by nature guy who a little bit floats through life without a whole lot of challenges coming his way. And if they are challenges, they are romantic. And so therefore not like,
also he's a Kapoor. He's a Kapoor, Beth.
He's a Kapoor. This one, I feel like by placing that type into a physically dangerous situation, and it's not dangerous because he's in a fight with somebody, it's nature, it's man versus nature, right? And I think there's something really powerful happened when that character was dropped, that type was dropped into this formula of a film, because there aren't that many man versus nature films, I feel like, in kind of mainstream Bollywood, or at least it's usually man versus man, or man versus God, or whatever. So I really, that's really one of my favorite Yash Chopra films, and I just think it's a great film overall. But and like matching him with Parveen Babi is like, like they're so pretty together, and they're like these sunny, kind of glossy people who
effervescent people.
Yeah, and you have like the engineer and the journalist, like these meeting of sort of the intellectuals and anyway. But I really love that character, and I think that it avoids the pitfalls of that character type by placing him into this very different, genuinely perilous situation. And he's a standout to me. I think that and again, like, who else could have played that?
Right.
Nobody.
Right. Okay.
And he never says, is it? I don't think he ever says it. He's actually like a man of science, and he doesn't care about that stuff. So you're like, thank you. It's about time.
So wait, so what grouping does he fall into?
He is an intellectual with principles.
An intellectual with principles. Okay.
Because he's the one who spots like this is not going to hold, right? He's like, you can't drill there because the water is gonna, and he's right.
Right. Which are the things you wish Raju would Ban Gaya Gentleman would have said, but he didn't. That is also a character I love. I have such a soft spot for Raju, but no, I was going to keep myself to a 2 film minute maximum for Shah Rukh. So, but that is like runner-up character I love. I have on my list someone very different, and that would be Munna Rangila from Rangila.
Oh, that's great.
I love Amir in that movie. He is so darling. He's so endearing and adorable. He's so scruffy and cute. He has some amazing songs. Yeah. He has some amazing dialogues he gets to say. My favorite scenes in that movie are when he shows up in the all yellow outfit.
You have to. He's
so darling in that. He shows up in his all yellow outfit, and he's like posing next to the taxi, and he's so proud of himself, and he's like, I'm stud admi,
How you doing?
I know, he's so cute, and he's so convinced that he's like the cat's meow, and how could anybody resist him? Like,
so funny.
It's just, he just brings a smile to my face. And then I love when like he sits down in the cafe, and when he orders beda curry, and then he says to the waiter, "Hey, beda curry, mundi idhar kar." And Millie's like, "What?" He's talking about the fan. He's just saying that they should like maneuver the fan to face him, and he's like, "Mundi idhar kar." It just cracks me up. And then I love his line in that song. Well, I love that song. "Kya kare, kya na kare, ek aisi mushkil hai." And there's a line in it. I mean, the whole song is so like up tempo and do 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 do, like that. And then there's this one bit where it just all slows down, which is of course Rahman's mastery. It just all slows down, goes sort of into slow motion, and then he says, "Kab kahe, kahan kahe, kya kahe, soch soch mein hi wo gayi nikal." Like, while I was thinking about the hows and the whats and the whens to say it, she just like waltzed out of my life. And that is like the epitome of Munna in that movie. But like, he's just so cute. I love how like aimless he is, and how he thinks that being a black market ticket seller is like such a great thing to be, and his ragtag group of friends, and the way they tease Millie for being ambitious, but he's so in love with her, and he's such a hard eye emoji. He's just one of those characters that he's just endearing and adorable. I also wish that someone would sit him down and tell him about the importance of getting an education or a trade, doing something worthwhile. Like, there's that song where, what is that song where he talks about Gadi Bangla nahi na
Oh,
sahi na
yeah.
sahi? He's talking about all these things you don't need, bank balance nahi na sahi. And Millie's like, no, you need those
need
things,
some bank
Munna. You
balance.
do need those things. And he's like, no, I don't. But he's just adorable. And he's one of those characters that you worry about.
Yes.
Like, yes, like even after the movie's over, like Rangila released so long ago, like I was a kid and I am no longer a kid, but I still find myself sometimes wondering about like that fictional character where I'm like, whatever is Munna Rangila up to right now? Like, what is he doing? Has he saved enough for his retirement?
He is not.
Is he taking care of his joints? Does he have arthritis? Like, I just worry about him.
Do you see a connection in like sort of an evolution between him and Gully Boy?
No.
They strike me as a little similar, and maybe I'm just thinking like Bombay, lower class,
they're so different to me. Because to me, Murad from Gully Boy, he just has such fire in his belly.
True.
Like he wants to be someone, he wants to do something. It's like Michael Corleone in Godfather. I mean, not really, but the dialogue where it's like, I could have been somebody. So like he's trying to fight the system and the class system and everything, and he's trying to break into something that is so hard for him to do. And so he has this like fighting spirit. It's very like Rocky Balboa. But then you have Munna, who is he just drifts through life. He just like floats through life.
He needs a
like
little more
butterfly.
of that fire.
Yeah, he needs fire. He needs some level of grounding. He's just like pie in the sky all the time, which is why I worry about him. I don't really worry about Murad. Murad strikes me as someone that, okay, even if his career as a hip hop artist or something doesn't pan out, he'll figure something out. He'll do something. Maybe he'll start his own business, but he's got a good head on his shoulders, and he's a fighter. He's scrappy. Munna acts like a fighter. He acts like he's so tough and everything. He ain't tough. He's just this like fragile little person. Millie's way tougher than he is. But he's so darling. I love both those characters so much though. Let me see. Do I have anyone else in my list? I will look in my Google Doc. Meanwhile, you can tell me if there's anyone else.
I have a couple of others. I have two more in this category. And these will also not come as a surprise to anyone, probably. So let us hop to Ray Films for a moment.
Okay.
Because we have to talk about Amal from Charulata.
Oh, yes.
And I, as you were saying, you worry about what will happen to Munna. I kind of worry what's going to happen to him too, because he,
really?
Obviously he has a lot of privilege, but he blows in on a thunderstorm and then he leaves all of a sudden when he realizes like, oh crap, this situation just got very complicated. I gotta go.
Right.
And he's off to go to school in England or whatever. But and probably he'll be fine, as rich, well-educated men of privilege often
usually
are fine. But, maybe being an Indian in England is going to be hard for him at that time, which would track.
Right.
And maybe he's eventually, maybe he'll be a freedom fighter of some stripe or other. And, but he just seems like he's a bit of a man-child, right?
Yes.
And he works so well as the outlet for Charu in so many ways. But I think he does sort of he stands alone also as a character that kind of works on his own as well. He's more powerful in combination with her, but like,
right.
That character. And like when we've already talked about this, when he sings to her and she's just like,
yeah.
Like, again, that was so beautifully performed, but the writing of a man that women will love is a particular skill. And I think that they really nail it with him, because you also know, like he has to carry kind of a sense of doomed about him, like as soon as he blows in, you're like, uh-oh. Because I didn't know that story before I'd watched the film, and you're like, oh, this is not going to end well.
Right.
But he, he's just this buoyant character that is a bit of a coward in the end, I think. And I don't like that about him, but like as a character in the film, like he is very enduring. And endearing to me.
I feel like he's also trapped though. Like, I don't know if I necessarily think of him as a coward, only because like, I don't know what else he could do.
Oh, yeah, there's probably not much.
I mean,
else
I would probably run away
done.
too.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I will be leaving. Goodbye. I would just like,
and like away. In a perfect world, he would at least write her a letter or something, but he obviously can't put that in writing because someone's going to find it and in that house and whatever, especially because that other, the other people are like onto him already. So he needs to go get someone else to fawn over him and feed his ego. But also like, oh my God, I know that guy. I know that guy. He's very recognizable to me. And kind of related to him from another Ray film that this is one of my favorites and no one ever talks about it is apologies for pronunciation, Jana Aranya. And I love the character of Somnath played by Pradeep Mukherjee in that film, the protagonist of that film, who is also someone with an education trying to apply it and then realizing that the ethics of the world he finds himself in do not match up with what he was taught or how he wants to be, and trying to navigate that and, really floundering at it, and ultimately finding himself having to do something he really wishes he didn't have to do. And the turmoil in that character, I think, is this is not a sunny person, right? This is a person who is getting trapped in the muck of the modern world. And I find that my heart really goes out to him. I hope some of our readers who have seen that, or listeners who have seen that film, will comment, because I feel like I'm kind of alone in a corner. Like, what about this film? Like, I was like Devi and Charlotte. I'm like, yes, but also this one. And of the Calcutta trilogy, most people talk about Simabada, but this is the one that really, there was something about it that just really, really speaks to me. And I feel for that. So he's kind of like Munna in a way, right? Like, oh, what's going to happen to him? Like, he's probably sold out and become a ad exec in a bad way or something, like, but I feel for him.
Okay. My next character is, well, there's two. So I really love Rajaram Joshi from Katha, which is Nasiruddin Shah's character. He's so cute and he's so silly and he's so naive and he's so innocent. And again, a person that I worry about greatly, especially with the shrewdness of Farooq Sheikh's character. Like, you just know Rajaram is one of those people that they get taken advantage of. Like, he's a giver and he has generosity of spirit, but he's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. And I worry about Rajaram. Hopefully Sandhya will keep it together and make sure he's not taken advantage of. But Nasir just plays that character so well. And it's funny to me because I think Nasiruddin Shah is like one of the most talented actors ever. But it's and one of the reasons I say that is not just because his performances are so great, but it's because his off-screen personality is so prickly. Like, he's always ranting about something. He's always picking fights with people. He's always saying awful things in the press about colleagues he's worked with that are no more. And I'm like, okay, it's not very nice to say these things about people who have passed. Can you please shut up? But then he plays these absolutely adorable characters. And I'm like, wow, you're a really good actor, because I don't see any of that in these characters. So like Rajaram Joshi in Katha is one of them. And then I don't know if you've seen this movie Pestonjee, which Again, so these are very like typical characters in like Sai Paranjape movies. And Pestonjee, which is the eponymous, he plays that role very similar to Rajaram Joshi, where I think Rajaram is a little bit more optimistic, where Pestonjee, I think, is a little bit more like depressed. He's a little bit depressed and a little bit melancholic, but again, a very, very sweet character. And I think characters like that can be caricatures very easily. But I think Nasir is a talented enough actor and Sai Paranjape is a talented enough director that they're able to give them that depth that is required. And then another Sai Paranjape movie where I love the character is Farooq Sheikh in Chashme Baddur. He's so cute.
I was assuming you were gonna throw him in there.
Yeah. But Farooq Sheikh in any movie makes me happy. He just does. He's one of those people, you look at his face and you smile. But his chemistry with Dipti Naval is so good. And he always plays the sweet person. And there's, I don't know if it's Chashme Baddur or Saath Saath, because in both films his character is so similar. But there's, he's a smoker and, you know, he lights up. And then Dipti Naval says to him, "Oh, you smoke?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then she's like, "Have you ever thought about quitting?" And he's like, "I was just waiting for someone to ask me to." And then he like throws the cigarette away. And then he's like, "Chhod diya." And I was like, "Oh, you are the cutest." But it's just those like sweet, like, it's Farooq Sheikh, man. What can you do? You look at him and you smile. He's just, I'm a heart eye emoji every time I see Farooq Sheikh in a film.
Yeah.
But yes, I would say Farooq Sheikh in Saath Saath, Farooq Sheikh in Chashme Baddur, and Nasir in Katha and Pestonjee. Those characters kind of like blend together a little bit, because all of these Sai Paranjape movies have that Sai Paranjape stamp on them. But they're all similar, where they're these very gentle, sweet, darling people. Just very simple and ordinary, and they're kind of believable. Like, we've met people like that, you know? So yeah, I like those. Anyone else in your list?
Yes. So I have one more, and this is kind of like what you were just saying. This is an amalgam, so it doesn't really count, but I wanted to throw it in there for discussion. I think that you and I will maybe diverge on this. Because of my love of 70s masala, although this person this goes into 80s and 90s as well.
Oh, I like 80s masala.
Prawn, when he plays the like elder, the wise elder in a film, which he does all the time. I can't even name you a specific one that stands out. Like, whenever Prawn shows up in one of these films, and he's usually wearing some kind of ridiculous wig with a great deal of dignity.
It's always blonde and terrible.
Or it's orange, or it's like purple or whatever, or striped, or who knows what. There's something about when he shows up, and you know that he's not the star at this point, but he is going to represent some kind of wisdom that the hero needs to needs to take on. He may or may not be involved in a physical fight with the hero to help him. He may or may not like have his own side plot. He may or may not have his own, revenge he's taking or whatever. But there's something about him doing that particular type that I just find, like, I'm reassured. I am pleased. I know it's going to be okay. Ashok Kumar kind of has this as well. It's a different flavor, but there's certain of these like guys who are no longer heroes and are no longer trying to be heroes. When they get these roles that are written to be this kind of wise elder in some way, and some of them are better at it than others. I think those two are probably my favorite, as we've discussed. Like Amitabh Bachchan doing this, I'm not interested in for the most part. But these guys, like, you give them a really good juicy courtroom scene, or you give them some kind of like, he's the weird old hermit who lives by the cave and you got to go seek his advice. And like, I don't know if Prawn's actually ever done that. It seems like a kind of thing he would have done. He probably has, but you know what I mean? So like, this is it's a secondary character, certainly, or even tertiary, but there's something so very satisfying about that. And I feel like they never give that to women. Women are like maybe the emotional thing that the hero has to deal with, and the man, an elder man, may also be the emotional one, but he's almost always going to have some kind of wisdom. And I just there's I don't know, it's kind of a grandpa thing, I guess. I don't know. And again, he's like a helper who has some kind of knowledge, so it's kind of combining my other types, I guess. It's just with an older generation, but there's just something about it. I mean, and the equivalent. The equivalent is kind of course, an Amrish Puri villain, which is, there are many different sub flavors of that, but that on its own is a character in a way. And I'm always thrilled to see that as too. But like these are like things that just kind of bubble up from the masala formula that I'm just like so happy to see whenever they come across.
So I don't particularly care about Pran one way or the other. However, what you were just saying, I do like Shami Kapoor in his like elder statesman roles. Like, in fact, he is in Parvarish as the cop slash father. But he actually played a doctor in one or two movies in the late 70s, 80s that I enjoy, like most notably in Ye Wada Raha, and I love it. I can totally buy Shami Kapoor as a doctor. I'm not sure why, because he doesn't particularly give me man of medicine vibes, but there's just something about him. Like, he's like this teddy bear of a person. Like, he's very imposing with like his height and his girth and his voice and his beard. And he's just this Santa Claus-ish person. And he's just saying medical things. And I just believe him. Like, he's like, we will do this face transplant and then she will be better. And you're like, yeah, I kind of actually think she will.
Shami says so.
Shami says so. And there's scenes in like Ye Wada Raha where he's so nice to Poonam Thalon's character, who undergoes a full facial transplant and then becomes Tina Munem.
That is on my to-watch list, by the way, after your last.
It is such a good movie.
I found it. I'm going to watch it soon.
Yeah, I love that movie. But so Shami Kapoor is a very believable doctor in that. And he's very like he goes beyond a normal. This is not your regular like primary care physician who sees you for 5 minutes and is like, what is your name, Beth Watkins? No. Okay, bye. Come back when you're dead. Like, it is not that doctor. Okay.
You heard it here first. Shami Kapoor is not your primary care doctor.
Shami Kapoor is like a specialized like surgeon who does like brain transplants and full facial transplants, but he's also like a therapist and a kind person and gives you pocket money and holds your hand and you can cry on his shoulder.
I'm going through my little Rolodex of the Kapoors, trying to pick one of them who I would peg to play a doctor of any kind in any film. None of them. Maybe Karina, but
no, she played a surgeon slash supermodel in that movie with Akshay Kumar, and she was believable as neither.
Well, but she was a doctor in Agent Vinod, and she's a doctor in Udta Punjab.
Udta Punjab, I bought it. Yeah, she was believable in Udta Punjab.
But I don't.
Yeah, maybe
and
Karina,
even Shashi, as we discussed, of like, could well play. He's played a man of science in some films, but like, I'm not casting a Kapoor as a doctor ever. I don't know why that's so wrong to me, but that's really wrong.
No, but Shami Kapoor as the surgeon par excellence, but also elderly grandpa who will give you pets on the head and wipe your tears and give you pocket money and food. Very believable, very reassuring presence.
Yeah.
He just like issues these medical statements and you buy them and you're like, yes, we will do a full facial transplant and I will become Tina Munim. Yes. So very good. You will enjoy Ye Wada Raha, I'm sure.
I can't wait.
Maybe we should do an episode on that movie. It's such a good movie.
Okay.
I have just one person left in my list.
Tell me.
And I have forgotten.
No.
Who was it? I had someone in my list and I forgot. I got confused because we started talking about Pran. And now I have forgotten. Okay.
Oh no.
I guess I don't think I wrote it down on my list. Did you have anyone else, or are you?
No, that was the end of my list, and I'm sure others are going to come to me over the next, couple of weeks and whatever. But I'm really interested to hear what our readers will have. Listeners, I don't know why I keep saying readers. Listeners have to say. We got some great additions to our women characters we love in the comments, so I'm hoping that this one will be just as robust. Because there's a lot of great men characters out there, and there's a lot of not so great men characters out there too, but
yeah, I do want to do an episode on like male characters and then female characters that are memorable, that you don't necessarily love, but they're just like, memorable, because there's so many of those. So, okay. I'm very surprised, I have to say, that you had only one 70s masala character that you named.
I started thinking about that.
Well, too, because you mentioned Shashi Kapoor.
Yeah, when I think about that, it's because there are a lot of individual elements within the masala formula in the 70s that I love, and individual examples of how that formula has been enacted, or like the particular ingredient that fills that role in a particular film. But are these people like people I want to know in real life or anything? Not really. And we talked about that with the women characters episode. Like, these don't have to be people you want to hang out with necessarily, but you tease them apart a little bit, and the hero bent on revenge, like that's not that appealing to me, frankly.
Right.
So it's the whole package of those films that I think really works for me most of all, rather than any one thing that I could isolate. But yeah, it took getting some modern men, more modern men are the ones
And
that
a
are
lot of men written by women, actually.
relatively. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I remembered who it was.
Good.
So it is Anil Kapoor as Prem Pratap Patialewale in the movie Woh Saat Din, which is the movie of whose remake is Hum Dil De Chuke Sanaam. So in Woh Saat Din, which one? Hum Dil De Chuke Sanaam? Oh yeah, I don't like that movie, but I love Woh Saat Din. Woh Saat Din is amazing. Well, see, I hate remakes anyway, and Hum Dil De Chuke Sanaam is so irritating. I don't like Bhansali's films anyway, but like Woh Saat Din is great.
I'm gonna say the thing I always say is, which have you seen the Bengali original?
Wait, Hum Dil De Chuke Sanaam and Woh Saat Din has a Bengali original?
Well, Woh Saat Din may be earlier actually, but there's the Bengali Nights, is that same basic story, right?
It's Hugh Grant, right?
And that movie's a wreck. I hate that movie.
It's Hugh Grant. And is that Supriya Pathak?
Yes, she is.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie because it has terrible reviews.
It's very weird.
But that one is the same story as Woh Saat Din and Hum Dil De Chuke Sanaam?
I think so.
I don't know. I have no idea. No. Okay.
Listeners, check the comments to see if I am making that up. There's a connection between those anyway. Like maybe part of the story is one and part is the other or something. I don't know.
Oh,
anyway.
But in Woh Saat Din, Anil Kapoor's character Prem Pratap Patialewale is the singer person, which was later played by Salman very badly. And Nasiruddin Shah is the doctor husband, and Padmini Kolhapure is the wife who is married off forcibly to the doctor when she's still in love with the musician. And Anil Kapoor's role in that movie is so good. And he is very much in that like loser category. He's a little bit like Sunil from Kabhi Haan Kabhi Na, where he is desperate to make it big as a musician. He's convinced he's going to become a great musician, but he's terrible. And the film knows it. And everybody knows it. Like, he's a bad singer. He's really not that great. The chances of him being able to make it big are very, very low. But he's kind of like a simpleton, and he's goofy and cute, and he's really sweet. But you do worry about him. Like, how is this person going to survive? And him and Padmini Kolhapure have this really cute like romance where she's this like chirpy, bubbly, happy person, and he's just this goofy pie in sky dreamer loser guy. And then she gets married off to Nasiruddin. And again, Nasir's role in that movie is also very good. I mean, anytime people talk to me about Hum Dil De Chuke Sanaam, I'm like, yes, but have you seen Woh Saat Din? Because that film has great acting and Hum Dil De Chuke Sanaam does not.
I want to read you something that our dear friend Sal said on Twitter the other day, which gave me a real light bulb moment. Sal says, Anil Kapoor is actually the real villain in every movie he's in. Like, Anil Kapoor movies are the quickest way to radicalize someone into a lifelong stance of intense misandry.
No, why is Sal saying that? I like Anil Kapoor in his movies.
And I had this moment of like, ooh, I think that's
Wait, which
probably
movies
true.
were you thinking of?
I just feel like I always want to slap him. I mean, the two that come to mind for me are Lamhe,
right,
and
Jambaz,
and Dil De Chuke Sanaam.
Oh yeah, but he was so good in Dil De Chuke Sanaam.
He's very good at it.
Yeah,
he's very good at it. Yeah, and Jambaz,
like, he's one of those memorable characters. I know. Yeah. He's so sleazy in Jambaz.
There's something about his kind of his particular brand of hero thing that's like, ugh.
But I feel like Anil Kapoor is very self-aware. Like,
yes.
Like, he knows when he's being shady and awful and misogynist, and like, he's fully aware of it, but he's playing that role, which is why I actually find Anil Kapoor to be a very brave actor, because he's done a lot of punchable, slappable roles within the confines of a hero. We're just kind of like, you're shady, can you not? But he will not. He will continue doing his own thing. But I do like him in Mr. India. He's so cute in that.
Oh yes, that's true.
He's so adorable in that movie with his little floppy hat. But yeah, okay. So I encourage people to watch Woh Saat Din if they have not, and then they can continue hating on Hum Dil De Chuke Sanaam with me, and they can tell me how cute Woh Saat Din is instead. Okay, I think that is it for this episode. Beth, do you want to tell people? Do you want to ask them anything?
I don't think so. I think please tell us your favorite men characters, because I bet that's going to be a really long and interesting list and full of some disagreements, and that's okay, because discussion is what it's all about.
I wonder if someone will mention Uday Chopra and then Lancharoni will immediately message me. The minute she hears the word Uday Chopra in our podcast, she automatically messages me. She goes, "You said Uday Chopra." Because you know someone is going to say Ali in Dhoom. People love Ali in Dhoom. Not you and me, but people.
During the Romantics, when he was talking about how popular that character was, I had no memory of that whatsoever. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying, really? So
his name comes up a lot in like movie forum discussions as Ali in Dhoom. Like people legit loved that character. I mean, I don't know why, because I'm not one of them.
People like comedy uncles too. So it's the same basic thing. It's just a comedy nephew, I guess, because he's younger. Ugh. All right. Well, takes all sorts, doesn't it?
Yes. But if you do love another Chopra character, feel free to tell us in the comments. We will not judge you for it. We will not judge you for liking anybody. I mean, okay, maybe we'll silently judge you.
We won't say it in the comments. But we know you judge us too, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Anyone who watches this podcast has got to be judging me, because I do have some very, very terrible taste. So it's fine.
But you are also Sunny Paji, so they best not challenge you out loud.
No, they best judge me silently, because I'm fully capable of like tearing apart the iron bars and pummeling people.
Do not mess.
Okay, well, thank you for watching this episode of Filmi Ladies. We had so much fun recording, and we had hope you had fun listening or watching. Let us know in the comments what you thought. If you have any ideas for subsequent episodes that you want us to talk about, then please let us know. We're always trying to expand our already ever expanding Google Doc list that has all of our episode ideas in it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can find us on Spotify if you don't want to see our mugs on YouTube. And thank you for watching. Bye.